We are quickly approaching the nation's 250th anniversary, but as grand fireworks displays and other celebrations are planned, a group in South Carolina is determined to close some of the Revolutionary War's lingering cold cases. Bradley Blackburn is here with more. Bradley, fascinating story. Good morning.
Dana, good morning. These John Doe cases are some of the oldest in American history, but with help from 21st century tools, a team is close to solving an 18th century mystery.
Deep in the piney woods of South Carolina, the trees stretch nearly to the horizon, with no sign their roots are anchored in sacred ground.
Oh no, I was completely blown away every time we found one. I'd have to get up and walk around for a minute. It's kind of stunning.
What was unearthed from the sandy soil were human remains.
His head was here, right where the flags are.
They were discovered not by detectives, but battlefield archaeologists, Jim Legg and Steve Smith.
So you were genuinely surprised.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had no clue.
The bones were weathered white where they had been sticking out of the ground because the individual was buried about 8 inches deep. You know, it's a snapshot of something that happened on a day in 1780.
On August 16, 1780, on these grounds, the Battle of Camden unfolded. The Continental Army faced the British and suffered one of the worst defeats of the Revolutionary War. Some 2,000 patriots were captured, wounded, or killed.
What was the fighting like?
Yeah, it was really brutal. Of course, all parties present fought very obstinately and exchanged a lot of musket fire at close range.
Was this a big setback for the Americans?
It was a disaster.
The battle, led by British General Lord Cornwallis and American General Horatio Gates, is mentioned in history books and even movies like The Patriot.
This battle was over before it began.
But no one knew exactly where the fighting happened until Legg and Smith began their search for artifacts back in the 1990s.
I'm just going to have little circles.
A few years ago, their metal detector found a button that led them to something unexpected. 5 sets of bones together in a shallow grave.
You know, just evidence of how brutal this fight was. That someone dug out a shallow hole and said, get that guy, and get that guy. Laid them down in there, stacked them up. I mean, that's just kind of stunning. You know, it's like, whoa.
Nearby, they found 9 more sets of remains. Clues indicated one was a 71st Regiment of Foot Scottish Highlander who fought with the British, another a Native American, and USA uniform buttons suggested 12 were Continental soldiers. But there were no grave markers and no idea who these men were. Today, the city of Camden and its historic foundation are determined to get the country's attention. To tell the story of the Revolutionary War in the South and the sacrifice of those who died in the nation's violent birth, men whose remains and identities have been hidden for centuries.
Well, it's the ultimate cold case, really. It's also a cold case that belongs to the whole country.
Do you think you can solve it?
I do.
All of these things have to do with the Battle of Camden.
Allison Peacock is a genetic genealogist and a leader in a growing field that identifies remains by combining cutting-edge DNA analysis with the old-school world of family trees.
When DNA came along, it was just a game changer.
But what can you get from DNA that you can't get from the paper record?
DNA proves connections between people. There's a way that you can analyze matches that helps you prove connections that you can't find on paper.
After the remains were exhumed, officials approached Peacock with a question.
The question they posed to me was, can it be done? Can we do what you do on 244-year-old remains? And I said, maybe.
They have started the search, completing genetic profiles for 2 sets of remains so far. Soldiers they now call 11A and 9B. The mission and hope is to discover their real names.
Just for those 2, we're dealing with about 25,000 matches. That's about 25,000 living genetic matches, modern day people that are related to these 2 men. And in a typical John Doe case, I might get 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 at the most.
Sifting through the data has taken months, but what they've been able to learn is breathtaking. Valerie Kemp works with Peacock and is focused just on 9B.
He was a teenager. We know for sure that his family were from the Anne Arundel area.
How close do you think you are to cracking this cold case?
Really close.
They have now narrowed down this list of families and are asking any possible relatives with these last names to share their own DNA to help pinpoint a link.
My dream would be that a Warfield or a Griffith or any of those people might reach out to us and they can go to the RevWar Forensic Institute website and send us a note.
And then they could do a cheek swab and submit their DNA?
Absolutely. We'll send them the cheek swab. We'll pay for it.
What would it mean to you to be able to give 9B his name back?
I mean, it would mean a lot to me. I would hope that if somebody found my loved one and they don't know who they are, that they would try to identify that person, that they would treat them with respect.
2 years ago, nearly all of Camden gathered to finally formally bury the remains of the 12 Continental soldiers with full military honors. It was, in a sense, a moment of the Revolutionary War, playing out in the 21st century.
The Battle of Camden should be recognized as a really impressive performance on the part of the American Army. And they stayed to the end until they completely were overrun.
Why should we be honoring these young men today?
First American soldiers.
Soldiers who are now laid to rest in real graves, but still unknown. So this team will not rest. Their battle has just begun.
When you see someone getting the respect that they deserve, that maybe they had been forgotten about, because these men were forgotten.
And no one knows their names.
And nobody knew their names. Yeah.
But you want to change that.
I do.
Bradley, this is fascinating.
You know, I lived in South Carolina. We learned about this, the swamp fox and the guerrilla tactics they used during the Revolution. My question is, did they bury or give British soldiers the same level of respect?
One British soldier was found in these remains, and members of the British military came over to bury him.
Wow.
So yes, they did, and they think they are incredibly close to finding out this name, and when they do, guys, they promise we'll be the first to know.
I was going to say, got to keep following it. People, reach out to them. Reach out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.